What's going on YouTube? This is Devin coming back at you with another video today on Pub Stomp MTG. Glad to have you here. Today we're going to be looking at something that I never thought I would ever see in my life with Magic the Gathering. We have the most dangerous gamer. This is probably one of the most silliest commanders in my opinion, and it is legal in Commander. As you can see, it does not have that acorn sticker on there, so it's completely legal and you could use it as a commander in EDH. But before I do dive into him, I did make another commander deck tech a couple months ago with Magar of the Magic Strings, so if you want to go check that out, you're more than welcome to. It is from the new UNFINITY set that is coming out, so make sure to check that video out as well. But we're going to look over the most dangerous gamer today and see what kind of shenanigans he is doing. So his abilities read: Depth Touch. Whenever the most dangerous gamer enters the battlefield or attacks, open an attraction. Whenever you open an attraction, put a 1/1 counter on the most dangerous gamer, and whenever you claim a prize from an attraction, destroy target permanent. So this does have a lot of neat abilities. I'm going to be explaining opening an attraction in a little bit, but first I'm going to talk about some of its other abilities of gaining 1/1 counters and also destroying target permanent. I think those are all really great by itself, and even having Death Touch is really good because not a lot of people want to block into it because they don't want their creatures dying. Now that we've got that covered, we need to go over what is an attraction, because honestly this kind of threw me for a loop while reading it. I've been reading all sorts of things, but I had to go to the main site to see what the rulings are, and luckily they had a good explanation. Attractions aren't played in your main phase. They are normally magic backs. Rather, they are played in their own deck called the attraction deck. So this is just another like side quest kind of thing. This kind of reminds me of the D&D dungeon mechanic, but not, I don't know. But anyways, they do have the backside of it, which I'll put up here. So this has some funky text, but I'll read it. Open an attraction by putting the top card of this deck on the battlefield. Destroy attractions, go to the junkyard. Okay, wonderful, I guess. Roll a 6-sided die as your main phase begins. Visit each attraction with the result lit up. Fantabulous. Building an attraction deck in constructed I mean, no more than one with the same name. Minimum of 10. Okay, so we have a minimum of 10 right there, as we can see right there. So overall, interesting, really unique. I mean, I'm not a big fan of it personally, but I know I'm really excited about the gamer, so I wanted to proceed with this deck tech with this. So I do want to mention with these attractions specifically, there are some that can't be used in Commander, but then some that can. For example, Squirrel Stack, because it has that acorn symbol below, it cannot be used. But something like Hall of Mirrors, which would be really good in this deck, can be used in this deck because it doesn't have that squirrel emblem. So I think if there's any attraction to use in this deck, it would be Hall of Mirrors. I really like this card because it says choose target creature you control. Each other creature you control becomes a copy of that creature until end of turn, except it is legendary if the chosen creature is legendary. So all your creatures will then become your commander, and then you can swing in for that additional attack trigger. But we do also want to make sure we have some creatures that do have that ability of going into a attraction. Some examples of really great cards to have in the deck that have that ability of visiting attractions would be Lifetime Pass Holder. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at the art and it's just kind of funny. And also we have Discourtesy Clerk, which is also a really great ability there to whenever it enters the battlefield, you open an attraction. And at the beginning of your end step, if you control 3 or more attractions, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. I do also really like Lifetime Pass Holder as well, because when he dies, you can open an attraction, and whenever you roll to visit your attractions, you roll a 6. You may return Lifetime Pass Holder from your graveyard to the battlefield. So I like that recursion right there. Overall, I mean, kind of going back to the attractions, I really don't know how I feel about it. I mean, I'll see how it goes when I play a pre-release event with it, but right now my first impressions of it, I'm not too big of a fan of it because it really kind of makes a whole nother giant mess into the Magic the Gathering. But let me know down below what you think of attractions. Do you feel like it's kind of too much of a headache, or do you feel like it's just fine? Because our cards have a lot of triggered abilities or enter the battlefield abilities of opening an attraction like our commander, we want to make sure we get that value extra, like using cards like Panharmonicon, Dryonic Resonator, and Lithoform Engine. This way you could copy them at additional time. The card I would like to highlight specifically would be Lithoform Engine. I think it's a really great addition to this deck because you could copy a lot of different things. For example, you could copy target activated or triggered abilities, or copy target instant or sorcery spells, or you could also copy target permanent spell you control and it becomes a token. So I like this card a lot because it's really versatile with all the different things we're trying to do with this deck. Honestly, I'm trying to even figure out what we're even doing with this deck because it's all over the place because of how new attractions are to Magic the Gathering. Speaking of jank, we're going to go full jank with this deck tech because I feel like with this commander, we really want to go with a theme that fits that gamer profile. So I thought of a couple things. I thought of adding in Street Fighter, but unfortunately all those don't match our commander's color identity, so we couldn't use those. So I thought of adding Fortnite to the addition in this deck because we do have a couple cards that can work with here if you want to add them into the deck. I know many people, including myself, aren't a big fan of Fortnite, but there's not a whole lot of gamer kind of things you could add into the deck if you want to make it more flavorful, so this would be the good option to add into the deck if you wanted to. So we do have cards like the Spire, which is a command tower. We also have Battle Royale, which is Triumph of the Hordes. I would definitely say Triumph of the Hordes or Battle Royale would be the most viable one in here, but we do also have Battle Bus, which is Smuggler's Copter, and we do also have Crack the Vault, which is a Grim Tutor, which is pretty nice to have a tutor in your deck that's pretty themed with your commander. Speaking of theming, if you want to go further, this might be an expensive option, but it could be really fun and flavorful if you add lands like the Fortnite lands that came out on the Secret Lair, or the Secret Lair lands that were the Pixel lands. Those are really fun. I mean, they are pretty expensive, but I only really suggested it just so that you can get that theme on flavor with your commander. Speaking of theming, I think a lot of gamers, including myself, could agree that one of our favorite things we like to do is watch anime. So what kind of anime comes to mind when you think of Magic the Gathering? For me, I think of Voltron. So if you're not familiar with Voltron in Commander, you're trying to get 21 commander damage with your commander and trying to put as much equipments or auras on your commander to make them beefier. To get that 21 damage is the way to go. If we were speaking in terms of Voltron, there are some cards that fit that Voltron theme. Cards like Helm of Cauldra, Sword of Cauldra, and Shield of Cauldra. These could definitely give you that Voltron feel, and you could also include the new Cauldra Complete from the Modern Horizons 2 set. So this could definitely be a fun and flavorful way of assembling Cauldra and making that Voltron commander. Other than the Cauldra equipments, we have some really fantastic options for that Voltron strategy. We have cards like Blade of Selves, Shadow Spear, and Black Blade Reforged. Because our commander has an ETB trigger, we could use Blade of Selves to make token copies of him, and then they'll have that ETB, even though they'll die because of the legendary rule, we will be able to get those ETB triggers, so I think that's a great option in this deck. So this is definitely a janky build. I didn't want to make it super high power because I wanted to make it more fun and flavorful for the deck. I feel like there's a lot of different options you can go with this deck, but I thought, why not add in some video game references or even some anime references to this commander, because I feel like this personifies a lot of us, including me, because I definitely do like to game a lot outside of Magic. So let me know what your thoughts are about the most dangerous gamer. It's still, I can't help myself but just to laugh that this is actually a Magic card. But again, let me know down below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. That's definitely the best way to support the channel. And thank you for stomping by.